This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Hello and welcome to the Godless Rebelution. Today is December 27th of not even 19, Jesus, it's 2020. And this is episode 314. I'm Dan Ellis, joined on the line by Mr. Ryan Duffy.
Yes, sir.
And Matt.
And Matt, I'm here also.
Yay! Good to hear from you guys. How's everything going? Your Christmases were good?
Yeah, I'm still fighting the lingering effects of a hangover.
Oh. Was it worth it? Did you have fun?
I was on the phone the whole time. I was talking to a buddy back home and just kept pouring into my glass and didn't realize, oh shit, I drank a lot in a really short time frame.
Oh, I'm getting really fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I paid for it yesterday, which, made me pay for it today.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any eggnog?
No. Just whiskey.
I imagine you're not a big eggnog fan.
No. Like, there's some cocktails I'll make with egg white in it.
Uh-huh.
Just to make them nice and frothy.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Mm-hmm. And you, Matt?
I've been pretty busy the last few days. I normally do Christmas Eve with my side of the family, and then we do Christmas Day like with Danielle's family and stuff.
Mm.
But so Christmas Eve was cool. We were able to get gifts for like an 8-year-old boy whose mom is the single parent, and they also take care of the grandmother. She's got brain cancer. So, so we were able to get him a bunch of stuff, and then we got some stuff for a couple single elderly ladies that one of them was slightly special needs. So we just went around and delivered the gifts and stuff, and that was good. It was a good time. And then we just did the normal Christmas thing with her family. So,
well, that sounds lovely.
Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, we typically host the holidays here at the house, and told everybody months ago that was not going to happen this year. And so one of Tracy's brothers hosted some family members. It's been a little bit of a to-do over the weekend because, we Tracy and I did our thing on Christmas Eve. And, she made a nice dinner and everything. And then Christmas Day, we all got together for a Zoom call to open presents with the whole family. And noticed that at her brother's house, everybody was there, almost everybody, a bunch of people were there, and none of them were wearing a fucking mask at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was upsetting and disappointing. And then, yesterday Tracy was on the phone with her mom, called her mom and, heard people in the background, and Tracy's like, "Where are you?" Well, Tracy's mom had gone over to her brother's house after they just hosted everybody over there for fucking Christmas. And she's over there to have him show her how to use her new watch. And again, none of them are wearing any fucking masks. And it's like, okay, well, why the fuck did we avoid having everybody over here for Christmas if all of this shit is just going to go on anyway? We're trying to keep Tracy's grandmother and mother safe from anybody transmitting the virus to them, and she's just out fucking putting herself at risk anyway. So it was really frustrating and disappointing. Tracy was really mad. really mad. I don't see, like, I've seen her like angry or upset, whatever, but like very few times have I ever seen her like mad. Like she wanted to break shit yesterday. And I can't say I blame her. But that's it. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. Like, I understand people are tired of the virus. They've got COVID fatigue. They see that there is a vaccination in the works, within the next few months. Hopefully they can be vaccinated and everything will be fine. Okay. But then don't put yourself at risk until then. For fuck's sake, everybody. Jesus fucking Christ. You've gone this fucking long being isolated and separated from everybody. And now when it's the very most fucking dangerous point at any time within the pandemic and everybody's just like, fuck it. There's a vaccination coming soon. Okay. But you don't have it yet. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's going to be until probably close to the end of summer with achieving the possibility of herd immunity with the vaccine.
Yeah. Of getting anywhere close to that, for sure. Yeah.
I actually had we were talking with a guy at the gym, one of the gym managers, about 3 weeks ago, maybe. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, why can't we just get herd immunity with this, like other things? And I was like, well, we did that with the 1918 pandemic, and that took 3 years to just naturally get herd immunity. And look at the numbers that died. Mm-hmm. Numbers for this that will die just achieving herd immunity without a vaccine are going to be a lot higher. Mm-hmm. So it's how many people do you want to die from it without a vaccine versus having a vaccine? And still, it's going to be like 2 years for this one with a vaccine.
Yeah, no es bueno. Tracy hadn't seen It's a Wonderful Life, and so we watched that the other night. Yeah, she had never seen it, and so we watched it Christmas night. Yeah, the day of Christmas, Christmas afternoon, early evening, and noticed that in one part of it, I don't know if you guys remember Mr. Gower, the drugstore where George worked as a young boy, and Mr. Gower received a telegram that his son died and was very upset and almost poisoned somebody. Cause he was the chemist or pharmacist there, ran the drugstore and filled capsules with poison on accident after receiving this disturbing telegram that told him that his son had died in 1919 from the flu. So, and it's something that, pre-COVID, I hadn't really noticed or paid much attention to, but part of that movie is somebody very influential and important to George's whole story arc. The reason that guy was so upset is because his son died from the 1919 flu pandemic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those things that jumped out that, I've probably seen that movie more than a dozen times and had never thought of that before. Sure. But now that we're in a pandemic, it was glaringly obvious
what it was.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I didn't even think about that. Well, I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It makes me cry every time I see it.
Well, you thought it was odd that Tracy hadn't seen that. And I thought it was odd that Sarah hadn't seen 8 Crazy Nights.
Oh, yeah?
It's like, you haven't seen this one? So we watched that. Deer shitting everywhere and eating poop.
You went highbrow.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. Classic Christmas stuff.
It's the Hanukkah one. I mean, we went cultural with it.
No, I know. It's like the worst actor of all time. Yeah.
Well, I even mentioned, I'm like, this was done in like 2001 when Adam Sandler actually still cared about the content he put out.
No.
No.
I would say compared to the stuff that's underneath him now,
he's never cared, even back to his stand-up days.
It's some of his stuff I like, some of it I can live without. There are some cute things like 50 First Dates I liked. That was cute.
Sure. Yeah.
Wedding Singer had some good moments. Great soundtrack. there's other things, I'm sure, that I can't think of right now. Some really terrible stuff too, and some stuff that'll just be like kitschy classic stuff forever, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've rounded up some stories about 2020, kind of a year in review. We figured that we would start.
Well, Dan has.
But we figured we would start with things that we probably forgot even happened this year. Like things, this whole year has seemed to blend into, I don't know, a decade or more of time living through the pandemic and having Donald Trump as the leader of the most powerful nation in the world. And so there are a lot of things that we just have all kind of forgotten. I pulled this from Mashable.com. Of course, Megxit happened. It's when Harry and Meghan decided to leave the royal family, kind of, sort of. And because
the royal family's racist.
And they moved.
I never heard about this.
Yeah, they left. They kind of set aside their royal heritage and privilege for a bit, or a little bit, and decided to move out of the spotlight because I think a lot of it was that she was being attacked. She came under fire from a lot of racist attacks from people. And of course, Brexit happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's still kind of a ongoing, slow moving train wreck. Parasite won the Oscar for Best Film. Did you guys ever see that?
I haven't watched it yet. I just remember when Trump blew the fuck up being like, how can, an American film can't win it? What's with this?
Oh, jeez.
America first.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought it was an interesting movie. Ultimately, I was like, I don't think it should have won Best Picture. Whatever.
Where was it made?
Korea.
Yeah.
It's a Korean film.
Yeah. It was interesting, but not that interesting, I think. There were locust swarms in Africa. The biggest swarms recorded in decades. Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to prison for sexual crimes. Of course, Michael Bloomberg ran for president.
Yeah.
All of the prophetic Netflix reality shows that aired. I don't know that they're really prophetic.
No, they were kind of bad.
Let's see. Some of these I'm going to skip over because I don't either know who these people are or care about them.
But
the
Australian wildfires.
It's like some of these things we've forgotten about because I don't think they were really all that important. But yeah, the Australia fires and California fires this year. We started the year by making LOL WW3 memes, laughing at the possibility of World War III.
We launched a missile at another country's fucking head of their military and killed them.
Yeah. Donald Trump ordered a drone strike on Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in January when he had never heard of him. Most people had never heard of him. And then everybody who was on Trump's team were like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy. And it was a good thing that they did that. Well, you didn't even know who the fuck he was before this happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
The president was impeached and acquitted.
Yeah.
We were risking it all to watch Cats Doolittle and Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters because that was a thing we decided was important to do because we hadn't fully realized how terrible the pandemic would become or was.
I forgot about the whole Cats fiasco with the buttholes.
Oh, yeah. That's right up your alley, Ryan.
I know.
The cat fiasco with the buttholes.
You don't remember about that? How they had to, allegedly, they had to go back in and re-edit the film before it came to theaters to edit out all the buttholes of the cats because they actually gave all the cats buttholes.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, they digitally gave the cats buttholes in the film.
Gave them or took them away?
Well, they took them away after they gave it to him.
Okay.
They realized, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let's remove the buttholes.
We're gonna go back and digitally alter these cats to remove the chocolate starfish.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been that anatomically correct with this film.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
We thought stockpiling toilet paper would save us from the virus. Of course, that had no effect at all. It just caused problems for everybody.
Yeah.
Tenet was in theaters for like 47 months during the pandemic is what it says here.
And I don't even know that film.
Have you guys seen it?
No.
Oh, it's interesting. I liked it, but I didn't think it was terrific. Like it wasn't awesome or groundbreaking. There were some actually groundbreaking things that they did in filming and directing of it that were really cool. But I think those will carry on into other films in the future. So there were some very important, breakthroughs or changes in how they decided to do narrative storytelling and special effects that were really cool. But ultimately the movie just wasn't terrific. J-Lo and Shakira did a concert. Super Bowl that happened. And Donald Trump, of course, was a giant
apparently, I think I remember that they woke Satan up with it.
Yeah. Their booty quake shook the heavens and hell and made all the Christians cry.
Yeah.
Jared Leto and Big Brother contestants found out about the pandemic weeks after everyone else did because they were apparently meditating in the desert. Trump praised the coronavirus opinions of a doctor who believes there are demons in sperm. Does everybody remember that?
I remember her.
That was fun. I ended up blocking at least 2 people because they said that she was really intelligent and just because I'm an atheist is the only reason that I would discount her opinion because she mentioned the word demon.
No, because she's batshit crazy.
Right. Because everything else in that sentence makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, it was me being an atheist that clouded my judgment of everything else she said because she used the word demon.
And people will look at her and go, yeah, she's a doctor. But Joe Biden's wife is not a doctor.
We debated the status of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's nipples.
I don't remember.
Do you guys remember that? Yeah, everybody
remember this one. No.
Everybody noticed that in one of his coronavirus updates when he'd do the little panel, he didn't have a jacket on and you could see through his shirt that it looked like he has his nipples pierced.
Oh.
So that was fun. Kanye West not only ran for president, but was endorsed by Chance the Rapper and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I think wealthy people with money should probably just, stick to what they do best. And that's making money and doing other, like Elon Musk is an interesting guy in that he has a lot of money to fund a lot of interesting projects, but he's really not one of the brightest guys in the world.
No, which is why I've always said Elon Musk isn't necessarily smart. He's just good at putting smart people in the right place to get this shit to work. Like he didn't invent Tesla cars. He had a cool idea for him. It took people that knew how to make the car in the right place.
Yeah.
He didn't invent the car.
Yeah.
Well, it was his idea.
And I think way too many people get confused between somebody having the resources and means to gather a group of people who know what the fuck they're doing with somebody building something like, oh, he did that by himself. He started this company, did all that. No, he didn't. He had fucking money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. We lost a lot of, important people, a lot of celebrities this year, a lot more than we could even keep track of. Kobe Bryant, Little Richard, John Lewis, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Chadwick Boseman, Alex Trebek, John Prine, so many people. I mentioned John Lewis in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Tons of people. Nobody remembered.
Trebek was a real tragedy.
Yeah. He was an interesting guy, man. He made knowing shit and being smart cool.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. We need more people like that. Instead of reality TV show and game show hosts who are just dickheads.
And of course, I should, since I said that, I should also mention that Kobe's daughter was an extreme tragedy too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Nobody remembered 420, and it wasn't because we were too high, unable to puff pass. 420 was a sad state of affairs this year as stoners everywhere grappled with an unknown risk factor of smoking during the pandemic. I mean, and the story says, we didn't even notice that the whole month of April was technically 420, but now that the pandemic has messed with our sense of reality, time, and memory, even when sober, we can stop blaming it all on pot. Murder hornets failed to do what was promised and didn't put us out of our misery.
Yeah, I haven't known a single person that's got murdered by a hornet this year.
No.
And I had high hopes.
Bolivian orchestra was trapped in a castle by wolves.
What?
Yeah, the Bolivian orchestra was stranded in a haunted German castle surrounded by wolves. That's
well,
now
if there's a haunted castle, they should have released the ghosts. Instead of the hounds.
Chris Evans doxed his own dick. Apparently, he accidentally leaked his own nude. This is something that I was unaware of until we started reading this story.
Mm-hmm.
The internet stanned Kim Jong-un's sister, when there were fears that Kim Jong-un had perhaps contracted and possibly even died from the coronavirus.
Yeah, I remember when there was like a month where it was like, no, he's dead. He's dead. Then all of a sudden he just appears.
Well, that whole thing was really interesting to me because it showed just how secretive and closed off North Korea is, that that all of the United States intelligence agencies, none of them could figure out if he was even fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
27 people, honest to God, believed in a baseless conspiracy theory about Wayfair sex trafficking children through cabinets. Like, that's how fucking stupid people are these days. There was
like,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there are guys at work talking about it, and it's like, well, how do you explain it? I'm like, they explained it quite well. I'm like, that's for ordering like industrial numbers of these things. Yeah, is it weird that they got people's names? But yeah, they're not shipping kids in them. Order one and find out.
Yeah, you can order one and have it shipped to your house, and if there's a kid in that, you should probably report it to the authorities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, what's going to happen is you're going to get a Costco amount of fucking shelves delivered to your house.
Disney made the live action Mulan movie that I still haven't seen. Did either of you watch that yet?
No.
Yeah, I heard it's okay. Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested.
Yeah.
And
she was on the run for a little bit.
And President Trump, of course, wished her well. Which is very strange.
Probably because she's got a video of him being peed on.
Donald Trump apparently felt that he wasn't being relevant enough, so he decided that he was going to ban TikTok like 7 different times and then just kind of forgot about it.
Still not banned.
Yeah. Let's see. Twitter got hacked, and possibly so did Donald Trump. Remember that when Twitter got hacked and took over a bunch of celebrity profiles and started tweeting stuff out?
Yeah. Mega 2020. Hard password.
Carol Baskin was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars because that's a thing that should have happened. A whole bunch of famous people got COVID.
Tom Hanks. I remember that one.
Dwayne Johnson, Prince Charles, Andy Cohen, Pink, Doja Cat, Lena Dunham, Bryan Cranston, Antonio Banderas, Alyssa Milano, Kevin Hart, Brian Cox, Robert Pattinson, Tiffany Haddish, Jim Parsons, Kanye West, Boris Johnson, Rand Paul, Chris Cuomo, and Harvey Weinstein all got COVID. And many, 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 many others. Trump bragged about passing a basic cognitive test.
I mean, I took that test and I realized I'm a genius because I aced that thing.
Well, yeah, like the whole point of that is if you miss any of these, there's something really, really wrong
with you.
Yeah, like you need to be checked into. Yeah, you need to be checked into some sort of care because there's something wrong with you. But we'll all forever remember person, woman, man, camera, TV. Okay? They were.
I honestly think he was just naming things that were around him at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this.
Oh yeah. He was in an interview and bragged that he had passed this basic cognitive test. It's like if you show up on scene, like going back to your guys' EMT training.
Yeah.
Like if you show up on scene, you ask some very basic questions like, what day is it? What's your name? How old are you? What year is it? Just to see if the person is in shock, if their brain is working, right? And
I might tell them, like, hey, I'm going to tell you like the color blue. Can you remember the color blue? I'm going to ask you again later if you can remember the color blue. Then like, you go through some more questions. You go, hey, what was that color I told you to remember? Like, oh, blue. Hey, good. You're remembering shit. If you can't remember it, it's like, there's something else going on that you can't remember a simple thing like blue.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you're just kind of triaging their issues. Let's see.
Yeah. So that they told him to remember 5 words and he remembered those 5 words as person.
Okay. That's where that comes in. I
Camera,
get you.
Yeah.
Woman. And he kept saying it over and over. He was so proud of himself.
And like it was this heavy, incredible thing that he had remembered. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Yeah. And they were all very, very surprised.
Yeah. It showed his superior intellect.
The mobile only streaming app for entertainment Quibi was launched and then shut down only 6 months and almost $2 billion later.
I never heard of it.
Because it was a stupid fucking idea. The whole idea of Quibi was that you could, it's short for quick bites of digital content. So they were making high budget shows like, and just breaking them into between like 6 and 12 minute segments that you could watch only on your mobile device. You could not watch it on a phone. And then their technology was super cool because you could watch it in either landscape or portrait mode.
Ooh.
It was just like one of the stupidest goddamned ideas ever. And it failed miserably, went down in flames. And I think the leaders of Quibi still don't really understand why. Like when, they figure everybody would want to do that, but that's not a thing that really happens. Armed protesters mad about haircuts stormed into Michigan State's capital. And this was before they started really plotting, or maybe they would have been plotting at the same time to kidnap and execute Michigan's Governor Whitmer.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin turned 40 years old.
I didn't realize he was 40.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. How old are you guys now?
I'm 36.
Yeah, I'll be 39 next month.
Jeez. You guys are younger than Macaulay Culkin. Man, oh man.
Yeah, I was 32 when we started the show.
Oh, wow.
They made you as Jesus when he died.
Was he 32? Well, how old was Jesus was it 32? I was thinking
33.
Yeah, I just remember you making jokes early on about how you're better than Jesus because you lived longer than him.
Yeah, on my 34th birthday. Yeah.
Let's see. The NFL known ally to black protesters, ally in scare quotes, painted "End Racism" on a field and then called it a day. Trump tear-gassed peaceful protesters, journalists, priests, and bystanders so that he could stand outside a St. John's church and hold a Bible upside down.
Yep. I didn't forget about that one. Fuckhead.
Taco Bell canceled potatoes, the quesarito, loaded grillers, and 7-layer burrito.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I was bummed out about the 7-layer burrito going away, but I also haven't had one for years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They're good, though.
Yeah. Ebola decided to make a comeback at the worst possible fucking time. That was not great. Lori Loughlin went to prison for paying to get her daughters into college.
Her TikTok daughter. Wasn't that what she was doing or something? She was like an influencer on one of those fucking things.
Yeah. Ivanka Trump ruined Goya Beans, told everybody to just like try something else if you lose your job. And also her Ivanka's childhood friend said she blamed a fart on someone else.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The entire supervillain arc of Space Karen, aka Elon Musk, was a thing that happened because he's just pulled so much bullshit this year that it's almost impossible to stay on top of it. It's like if Donald Trump wasn't president, that's kind of like Elon Musk, but almost like they're on par for just doing weird, dumb shit.
But I do really like SpaceX and what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing some great stuff. But again, it's not necessarily because he's a genius. He has money.
Oh, yeah, he's got money and yeah, he's putting people in the right. I think he's putting people in the right place, and he's also letting them do it a different way, which is making SpaceX better.
Yeah. Steve Bannon has been indicted for stealing Build the Wall donations, where he and a few other people were able to dupe a bunch of idiots into giving them money that they then stole.
Which is just shows how stupid people are.
Yeah.
The government doesn't take donations to build shit. They take your taxes.
Let's see. Michael B. Jordan won People's Sexiest Man Alive. I can see that. He's a good looking dude. So. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Vin Diesel debuted a song to an audience of monolith-sized slabs of iPad people.
It was
no way.
I remember going and finding the song. I don't know if it'll play there, but it looks like it might not. Like the link is dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird because it's just an auto-tuned fucking song.
It's pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Rudy Giuliani, of course, was caught in a compromising position with Borat's fictional underage daughter.
Hands down the pants.
Yeah. Barack Obama published his 768-page memoir that I still need to get and read.
That's a long one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's big words in there. It's not like Donald Trump wrote it. The Pentagon released UFO videos and nobody gave a shit because they're just unidentified things. Doesn't mean that they're
takedown of them.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're aliens. It's just shit we didn't know about or couldn't explain. Here's a bunch of videos of it.
I saw one guy that used science and it's like, basically that's a bird.
Yeah. And lastly on this list is scientists also found evidence of possible microbial life on Mars and water on the moon.
Yeah.
Two interesting developments that I'm sure will impact our lives moving forward. We have.
Well, what about that fire festival? Was that 2020 or was that?
That was 2019. That complete
2019. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was a previous year. Yeah, the fire festival going down in flames.
Yeah,
there was like 3 documentaries that came out about that this year, and it was fun to watch all of them.
I watched one of them and figured that's all the time I want to spend on this.
Yeah,
I was just enjoying people's misery.
Yeah. So this will probably be a bit longer show today because we have 2 more segments and we want to go over in the next segment. We'll talk about the worst things that happened this year and we'll finish that up with some of the best things that happened this year. So stick around.
Hey guys, this is Brandy Hamrick. I'm from Charleston, West Virginia. Contrary to popular belief, we don't all fuck our cousins and we didn't all vote for Trump. And you're listening to the Godless Rebelution.
Larry! What?
What?
What happened to the cookies?
What?
The cookies!
The cookies from... What, from last night?
Yeah!
What? I ate them.
What? You ate them? They were for the manger scene! Larry, you ate the baby Jesus and his mother Mary!
I thought they were animal cookies.
Animal cookies.
Animals. Are you kidding?
Jesus Christ is not an animal, all right?
I thought it was a monkey.
A monkey?
Oh, please.
Very heavy on the shame. The Son of God was a monkey.
We worked all day on those cookies.
I'm sorry.
You didn't see the hay, the toasted coconut was hay, the barn.
I thought that was all part of the zoo.
Why would we have a zoo on Christmas Day?
You know what? I'll make it up to you.
How are you
Don't
going to
worry.
make it up to us, Larry? Okay, you just swallowed our Lord and Savior.
I'll make it up. I'll go get another manger scene.
Yeah, where?
Nothing's open. It's Christmas.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
Okay, so we're gonna go over the the everything bad about 2020 ranked, and this comes to us
according to Vice.
Yeah, this is from Vice, and they've got 30 things listed here. Some of them I have not heard of before, but they look pretty terrible. For example, number 30, that sack of wet eggs. I don't know why you would sell a sack of wet eggs, but I'm guessing they're boiled and
or pickled.
Oh, pickled eggs?
I don't know. That's the only two things that are boiled. It looks like there's liquid inside of it.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be either boiled or pickled because you would smash them all. They weren't.
Oh yeah, for sure. And why would you put liquid into eggs or into a bag of eggs that was not hard boiled? Like if they're just in there, yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, they've got to be pickled or boiled or both. I guess pickled eggs or boiled eggs also. I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, that made it onto the list.
Yeah, that was just weird. Sir Tom Moore. And I don't know why. I don't even know who Sir Tom Moore is. 28 on their list is the Celebrity Imagine collab. Celebrity singing a John Lennon song.
Oh yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
In a sincere attempt to boost morale is probably, it says, one of the most egregious things to have happened during the pandemic. But also, what else would you expect from them? TikTok dances.
I want to add to that.
Oh yeah.
The even worse than that is the fact that our government isn't even attempting to boost morale.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think Donald Trump may argue that point and say, I've been trying to be the cheerleader by lying to people and telling them it wasn't as bad as it is, knowingly putting their lives in danger to make them happy, and, encouraging them to do the things they want to do anyway, hate black people, murder people, kidnap people, rob people blind, earn more money than they could ever spend in 20 lifetimes. All of the best things about humanity I've been trying to champion. That's great. The next thing on their list is 27 is TikTok dances. I do not have TikTok on my phone. I've not installed it. I may in the future, but I don't know. I try to not have, a bunch of different social media things going on. I'm primarily on Facebook and sometimes on Twitter and sometimes really rarely on Instagram. And it's just 'cause I can't keep up with all of them, and I'm an old guy.
Yeah, I think TikTok, adults that are on TikTok seems weird because it's just a bunch of little kids dancing on it. It's like
there's other good stuff on there. My wife has it and shows me stuff every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. 26 on their list is DIY beauty, watching everyone butcher their boyfriends' heads with clippers or rip off their acrylics. During the first lockdown was a sight to behold. God bless hairdressers and nail salons.
I gave Sarah a haircut.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She's a daring
That
person.
went quite well. Well, she figures I cut my own hair, so I know how to cut hair.
Well,
granted, I just cut all mine off.
I mean, when we're talking about style and volume of hair as well, there's a vast difference between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't fuck it up.
That's good.
Did you use a Flowbee?
Yeah. No.
A Flowbee. Nice.
Or a suck cut?
A suck gut. It's the same thing as a Flowbee, just different brand?
Yeah, it sucks as it cuts. It's from Wayne's World.
Okay.
Number 25 on their list is dating apps. Please tell me more about how you're looking for a quarantine bae and how you won't bring bottles of Corona to our park date. 24, sex being canceled. Because remember being able to meet up with someone for the first time, share an awkward first kiss in the bar, and then go back to yours in an Uber for slightly disappointing sex? Weird to think that's basically illegal now. 23 on their list is Instagram Lives. Induced by a lockdown delirium, everyone from celebrities to people you went to high school with hopped online to talk for hours at a time about nothing at all.
Yeah, I had a buddy they were doing Instagram Live concerts.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
You'd get different bands to come on and play music on Instagram Live.
There was it this year? Yeah, it was this year when Post Malone did a live thing and covered a bunch of Nirvana songs. It was actually really fucking good. Yeah. It was a really good concert. I was very impressed. 22 on their list is COVIDiot. Just one of the many annoying new phrases 2020 blessed us with. Something I can imagine Piers Morgan yelling on Good Morning Britain. 21 is the COVID test. Sitting in a car park, hands slippery with sanitizer, trying to shove a swab down your throat and then ramming it up your nose until it gently pokes your brain.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree that's a bad thing. Well, I mean, the test is uncomfortable, but having the test is a good thing.
Oh, for sure. To number 20, bars, restaurants, clubs closing for good. There's been a ton of business closures. A lot of it having to do with service industries and retail industries and restaurants and bars. Yeah, that's a lot of good places have closed. A lot of people who had started businesses this year and then were hit with the pandemic, and that really sucks for them. Number 19, we mentioned in the previous segment as well, toilet roll hoarders. Late March was spent walking to the corner shop several times a day to ask the guy behind the counter whether they've got any in yet before we dropped 6 pounds on a 4-pack. 18, gardens. Not problematic in their own right, but being without a garden for the first lockdown was a stark reminder that renting somewhere with no outside space because you're never in anyway was a terrible idea. Yeah, that would suck.
So I'm guessing this is a British list.
Yeah, it looks like so. It is. Yeah. And
so that would just translate to yard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a few friends sell their houses and move into condos or apartments. And now they're just stuck in a building with no place to really go of their own outside and just be able to sit out of doors, in a space of their own. Number 17 on the list is, quote, "This is like an episode of Black Mirror." Talking about, I'm sure, all of 2020, but it's really not. Number 16, that James Corden and Gary Barlow song.
Never heard of it.
Same. I have no idea what that's talking about. Number 15, the bread obsession. Everybody making their own sourdough. That
was an issue because stores were like, yeah, we're out of flour and yeast, and because everyone was making their own bread.
Yeah, everybody making their own bread, their own food. A lot of people, staying at home and learning how to cook or cooking again after not doing so for a very long time. Number 14, clapping for the NHS. Says, do you remember being woken up from a nap by your neighbors exiting their homes just so they could bash a wooden spoon against a pot for 10 weeks straight? I don't think that was a bad thing necessarily. That was trying to show support for the people working
for the workers.
The health workers.
They did that here in the U.S. in certain cities too, where they would get out at night and I can't remember what time everyone would do it at, but they would make a bunch of noise, being like, "We're all here."
Yeah. Number 13, the end of going out clothes. This really hits home. Yeah, I haven't bought Well, I was going to say I haven't bought any new clothes this year, aside from pajama pants, and that's pretty much the case. Like, I wear regular pants very infrequently these days. I think the last time I left the house for anything, it was just last week. I had to run something. I was returning an item that I'd ordered online, but before that, it had been a couple of weeks. Like, I've left the house a handful of times throughout the year, and I don't know. I've settled into it very, very well, I think. Number 12, watching Love is Blind. I never watched that.
Yeah, I think that was referring to this thing in the other list about stupid Netflix reality shows.
Could be.
Oh.
Number 11, every relationship became difficult. It says, it felt like all your friends hated you and locking down with your girlfriend was a terrible idea. I've been pretty fortunate there. Tracy and I get along really well, and we just kind of click on so many different levels that it's been not too bad. It's been nice. Like, yeah, it hasn't, I'm sure that it's been much more difficult for a lot of other people who don't like the people that they live with very much.
I've enjoyed having Sarah around more often because, when I work weekends, I never get to see her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been kind of nice. Number 10 on their list is going dark at 3:39 p.m. Obviously, daylight savings happens every year, but this time it feels like an actual attack.
Yeah.
You have to press your face against your SAD lamp, the seasonal affective disorder lamp, just to muster the strength for an evening walk. Number 9 is your WFH setup. I don't know what a WFH setup is, but it says after 10 months of being hunched over your laptop on the sofa for 40 hours a week, your back is probably fucked.
Oh, work from home setup.
Oh, good call. Yeah. I already had a good work from home setup going, but it has improved. Like I've moved some stuff around, made it a little easier. Number 8, eat out to help out. It says literally any other slogan would have been better. That's like, there was a doctor who recently put out a tweet, something about she misses eating out her friends because of the pandemic, and then tweeted again, like, oh my God, what have I done? I meant eat out with my friends, just not eat out my friends. Number 7, anyone who says they are thriving during the time of the pandemic. It says, see also self-described introverts who say they were, quote, made for lockdown, and anyone who promised to write a whole book by the time it was over.
This is where I'm going to say the thing that I think people might not agree with. Lockdown, this whole year has been good for me.
Oh, yeah? Why?
I hate going to restaurants.
Why do you hate going to restaurants?
I didn't have to go. I don't like food.
Oh, well, you like some food, just you're very picky. Food. Yeah.
Then when I go to a restaurant, I don't know exactly what I'm getting. So it's always like, oh, am I going to like this or not? And my woodworking I've stepped up my woodworking. So being able to spend as much time as I want in the garage doing woodworking has been awesome this year.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. So on the personal side of it, me learning how to do a new skill and learning more about it, I've been thriving in that aspect.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There've been some positives and some negatives for sure.
Otherwise, my life hasn't changed because I still have to go to work.
Let's see. Number 6 on their list is the way people pronounce COVID. Is it COVID or COVID? Yeah.
I've only heard the one.
Yeah. Is like the other one, like a posh way of saying it? It's COVID. I don't know.
Number 5, Zoom. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that still sounds the same to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 5, Zoom quizzes. They take up time that could be used napping, but I will allow them over the festive period. Number 4 is emails. when are we going to think of better phrases than the ongoing situation, or being like, with everything that's going on, and simply address the fact that we're living through a global pandemic, and no, this email does not find me well. Number 3, thirst. And we're not talking about needing some liquid necessarily, unless you're Ben Shapiro. We're talking about the start of the pandemic was characterized by rabid horniness. Some of you even tried to push the lie that Joe Exotic is hot. Then Tory women began referring to Rishi Sunak as Dishy Rishi, somehow tricking themselves into believing that a photo of a man wearing a gray hoodie was hot. Finally, a simple silver chain briefly elevated a man who looks like most of the boys on your school's rugby team to God level hot. Maybe 2021 is the year being horny stops rotting our brains. Because, yeah, the dude in the necklace is not hot, I would say. Number 2 on the list is Brexit. It's hard to think about coming out of all of this and knowing that we won't have the opportunity to breeze through the EU queue at the airport ever again. And number 1 on their list. What's funny about that is,
about the Brexit thing, is now that Europe is in like a really strict lockdown, and they're like, oh, wait, we need to get fish from France. How's that going to happen? It's like, well, should have thought about that before Brexit, shouldn't you? How are you going to get food and products and materials from other countries now? Yeah, fucked.
Yeah. I just thought it was all a lovely joke, wasn't it? It was going to be fun and weird, and yeah. And then we could say, keep out those darkies. And number 1 on their list is the concept of time. No days of the week, just vibes.
Now everyone knows how I live.
And because the whole concept of time to you is irrelevant?
Well, it's just gone.
Yeah.
I never know what month it is, what day of the week it is. It's my work schedule that does it, because we're always shifting what days I'm working. And it's like, I know I go to work for 3 days and I come home for 4. That's about it. What month it is, what day it is usually not on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've just noticed that all time just kind of blends together. Even talking to Tracy about shit that has gone on, recently or weeks ago or months ago or whatever, like neither one of us can really remember when something happened. Like it could have happened yesterday or 2 weeks ago, and who knows? Does it really matter? Yeah, we've time is a void that we just fill with different activities, I guess. And they can all just kind of warp and move around, and it doesn't really matter as long as you remember that there were good things and bad things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming up, we will be talking about the very best things that happened this year, because there were some definite highlights and good points throughout the year. And we figured we should end on a high note.
Hey, everybody, I'm Mary.
And I'm Shelley.
We have the Latter-day Lesbian podcast. It's the podcast about an ex-Mormon gay girl just trying to figure out her life. And so we do that every week on a podcast, don't we?
We do.
You're supposed to jump in.
Sorry.
Just jump in anytime.
Okay. I'm here.
We are available on your favorite podcast app. Just look for Latter-day Lesbian, where your favorite podcast can be heard.
And you're listening to the Godless Rebelution.
Why do Christians take everything so personally with Christ, you know? It's like, it's not only do you have to worship him, you want everybody to. It's like, I like lobster. Do I go around pushing lobster on people? Do I say you must like lobsters? Eat lobster, it's good, it's good. You know, it's not only where you live, you go to Africa, you travel all over the world, get to eat lobster. Have some more lobster, it's good.
I don't really think
we want you to have lobster.
Lobster and religion, I really don't see the similarities.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
Thanks for sticking around, everybody.
I was expecting that.
We wanted to close out the show with the good things that have happened in 2020. This was published on the Washington Post on the 15th of this month. So this is not an all-inclusive list, of course, of good things that have happened, but these are some of the highlights. Story starts out and says, when we began listing good things that happened in the year to match the year's number, 16 good things in 2016, 17 good things in 2017, and so on, we knew the exercise would grow more challenging as the century wore on. To be honest, though, we didn't think it would get this hard this fast.
Yeah.
That's what she said. The year 2020 turned out to be a difficult one to love. Still, good things did happen, perhaps more than usual. Our list this year includes silver linings. Yes, a terrible plague struck humankind, but we don't apologize for that. Finding the silver linings is how we all make it through, and we're sure this list is far from exhaustive. We'd love to hear from you. What good things happened in 2020 that we've omitted here? More to the point, we'd like to wish everyone a safe and happy new year. May our common challenge a year from now be whittling the list down to 21. Without further ado, then, the 20 good things, starting with a few of those silver linings. Number 1, a terrible plague struck humankind, but scientists responded with unprecedented speed and common purpose, cooperating across national lines to decode the virus and then discover and manufacture vaccines that can prevent the disease.
Thank you, Dolly Parton.
I think it's amazing how quickly the vaccine has been created by multiple entities to get this under control. But
yeah,
and everybody says we should make sure that we offer Donald Trump our thanks and congratulations in getting this done with Operation Warp Speed. But
I disagree.
Yeah, well, and this kind of goes back to the Elon Musk thing. Like, Donald Trump didn't do a fucking thing here. All he did was bitch and complain and make things much more difficult for everybody.
And these scientists would have done this without Operation Warp Speed.
Right. Yeah, Pfizer.
They did.
Yeah, Pfizer developed theirs without Operation Warp Speed and didn't take government funding for it.
Yeah. The only funding they took was money to buy the vaccine once it was done.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Number 2. Thousands of people volunteered to take the experimental vaccines at some risk to themselves so safety and efficacy could be tested and proven. So thank you all very much for doing that. All of the volunteers who decided to take part in early trials of the vaccines. Number 3, we learned to appreciate the selfless dedication of nurses, orderlies, doctors, and other health workers who risked their lives to save ours. And the selfless dedication of truck drivers, grocery stockers, farm workers, and so many more who risked their lives to keep the economy from collapsing.
I would like to include people who work in education in that list.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would be remiss of us to not also mention that a lot of the people who did put their lives at risk had no choice in the matter. It was that they needed to continue working in order to maintain their lives and livelihood. And yes, they knew that they were putting themselves at risk, but when presented with no other option, either put yourself at risk and be able to hopefully keep your house or your apartment and your things and maintain some modicum of regular life, or not do that and lose everything while also putting your life in danger. So our economy has failed so many people in so many different ways. And I think the pandemic has highlighted all the ways in which, or not all of the ways, but a great number of the things that we need to change to improve the lives of everybody. And trickle down economics is bullshit. A lot of the way Republicans believe the world needs to operate is fucking bullshit. And rich people are not going to automatically start donating large sums of money just out of the kindness of their hearts. In fact, they'll just add that to their stacks of gold that they're sitting on like a fucking dragon.
Yeah.
Number 4. Many of us felt isolated and frustrated in our social distancing, but many found meaning and connection with young adult or adult children, older relatives, and other pod mates. And that's been nice. Of course, Tracy and I have been together for quite a while, but I've also learned some more things about her. We've grown closer throughout the pandemic because we've been spending so much time with each other. So that's been nice.
Yeah.
Number 5. We also connected and reconnected with friends, relatives, colleagues, and therapists across great distances as we became accustomed to Zoom calls and FaceTime video chats. We wouldn't suggest that in-person wedding celebrations are gone forever, but the advances we made in telehealth, remote work, and virtual gatherings will outlast the pandemic.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think some of those are fantastic and wonderful things. And, just in my own work life, it has opened the eyes of so many people in management who, prior to the pandemic, viewed working at home as, something that was going to reduce productivity, that would lead to the work not getting done, or make it more difficult to manage people or projects or developing different things that needed to happen throughout our enterprise. And the exact opposite has been shown to be the case. We're a lot of us much more productive, and it gives us a much better balance between our work life and private life. And, sometimes it's resulted in the commingling of the two, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And it's also shown that you don't have to have a 9 to 5 go to a location to get your fucking job done. It can be spread out throughout the day at various times. It's a much more natural way to be and to work, and has made a lot of productivity gains and a lot of cost. And a lot of companies have also realized a huge cost savings in not having to maintain and pay for all of the things that are associated with having employees of your staff on location at somewhere.
Except for my job. We still haven't found a way to Zoom call a fire.
Well, that's when you need better drone development.
We need better robots.
Yep. We'll just replace all the firefighters with robots one day.
I'll sit here with the joystick controlling that robot. That'd be fun.
Number 6. As movie theater chains struggled across the country, some family-owned drive-ins made a comeback, bringing a sense of community to small towns that had thought they were gone forever. I haven't been to a drive-in theater for quite a while, but I always had fun when I would go.
I mean, I went to a drive-in comedy show.
Oh yeah, you went and saw, was it Kreischer?
Kreischer, yeah. At a drive-in comedy show. That was fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know Chappelle has been doing little comedy shows, socially distanced, out in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Near where he lives. Number 7. A record number of Americans turned out to vote in our national election, pandemic notwithstanding.
I would say that's because of some orange menace.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that Donald Trump has done, or one of the good things that have resulted or been the result of a Donald Trump presidency, is that so many people have realized the power of their vote.
Yeah.
They've come to understand that their vote may not count for a whole lot individually, but in the aggregate, it can make change happen. And if they get enough people out to actually vote in the representation that they would prefer, then they can affect change at a national and local level.
Yep.
Number 8. As the president launched an unprecedented assault on the democratic process, local and state officials of courage and integrity stood up to his assault and did their jobs with honor. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, Michigan Board of State Canvassers Vice Chair Aaron Van Langevelde, and other Republicans stayed true to law and principle despite the corrupting pressure of their president, the cowardly silence of their national leadership, and at times, vile and violent threats to them and their families. And I think number 8 in itself is a good thing that there were
sad too.
Yeah, that there were a handful of Republicans willing to stand up to the president, but at the same time, it's not as if they had a whole lot of choice. If they just followed the letter of the law, all they did was do their fucking jobs. I don't know that that's something that should necessarily be celebrated, but I think it goes to show just how terrible 2020 has been in so many other aspects. That when people just do the thing that they're supposed to fucking do as part of their job, we're congratulating and thanking them for it. Number 9, and he lost. We realized that for 74 million Americans, that doesn't count as a good thing, but the result was welcomed by 81 million, ourselves among them, and this is our list. We celebrate the defeat of the worst president in U.S. history, and I think that's beyond debate for most people. For people who have a good sense of history, ethics, morality, politics, humanity in general, Donald Trump losing the election is one of the greatest achievements in human history.
If he would have actually won, I don't know what I would have thought of this country.
Holy shit, dude. And can you imagine how bad things would have gotten had he actually won? If he were handed a mandate that said, for all of the shitty things you've done over the past 4 years, we're going to send you back to keep doing it. Like how bad things would have gotten had he actually won.
To do worse shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have given him a green light to be even more fucking terrible. Number 10 on their list is black women led the nation to this fortunate result, with more than 9 in 10 voting for Democratic candidate Joe Biden in an election that was far closer than it should have been.
Yes.
Which is absolutely true. Yeah. Donald Trump has created a definite cult. People who eschew all forms of reason and rationality in order to prop up and support this man who we've said it before, or I've said it before, that he's them. Like they see in him all of their most awful aspects of humanity, and they see him being rewarded for those things. That's what they want for themselves. That's what they want and desire for themselves. And to trod upon other people's rights, to keep other people down, to subjugate large swaths of our collective humanity and populace in order to prop themselves up. They see him do it and get rewarded for it. And that's what they want for themselves. And it's disgusting. It's one of the things that it's great that he did lose the election, but it has also exposed so many awful people that I didn't know how awful they were until this all happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 11. In so doing, they helped elect America's first female vice president, first black vice president, and first Asian American vice president, Senator Kamala Harris of California.
Which also brought out more bigots.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are like, well, she's not from Africa, so she's not black.
It's
like not how this works.
Yeah. Well, and it's like everything on this list is like, it's finding the silver linings on the shit colored clouds. Like, it's just the flip side of the dirty coin kind of thing. I don't know. Number 12, the Supreme Court ruled that no one can be fired for being gay or transgender.
Yes.
Thankfully, this was before they had a supermajority of conservatives on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Number 13, when the country was really in trouble, Republicans and Democrats came together in Congress and the administration to pass the CARES Act, which provided relief to businesses and workers suffering through no fault of their own.
Yeah, but that didn't go far enough.
It absolutely did not go far enough. And it, while ensuring that a lot of people were able to at least maintain their livelihoods, the only benefit it provided to people was to ensure that they didn't lose everything. Like it allowed a lot of people to barely hold on by their fingernails to the lives that they knew.
For a little bit, I mean.
Yeah. And of course, all of that may go away very, very soon. Maybe we should take just a minute to talk about, the current legislation that is on the president's desk that he is threatening to not sign into law, which means that the government would shut down at midnight tomorrow and that everybody would lose their extended unemployment payments, their eviction protections. It would drastically alter the lives of millions of Americans. And Trump doesn't fucking care.
Oh, he plays with lives like a game until he gets what he wants.
Yeah, and that's all his current stance is. And I think I think I can say with 99% certainty that he will eventually sign the legislation, or he'll just allow it to be enacted. Everything that has gone on since the initial passage of the law earlier this week is all that he's feeling irrelevant. He wants to be in the fucking spotlight again. And so he's causing a stir so that everybody's talking about him and what is he going to do, because he needs that fucking attention. Makes me not happy.
No. He's a fucking buffoon.
Number 15, one of the most horrifying acts of police brutality ever caught on video, the killing of George Floyd, led to an outpouring of protest and reflection, and in many cities and state capitals, the beginning of reform. And his death, while unfortunate and sad and sickening, has also awakened a lot of people to the idea that the United States is not equal for everybody.
Nope.
That there are a lot of systemic racism issues that need to be addressed, that there are a lot of inequality issues that need to be addressed, that there are a lot of policing and law enforcement issues that need to be addressed. And we've started some of the work in doing that. Number 16, NASA named its headquarters building in D.C. after Mary W. Jackson, the agency's first African-American female engineer. Mississippi replaced a flag that had featured Confederate symbolism. Fairfax County renamed Robert E. Lee High School for the late civil rights leader John Lewis. Congress voted to rename 10 Army installations that honored Confederate generals. And despite resistance, Americans began to reckon more honestly with their history.
And the renaming of those military bases is something Trump is fighting for or against.
Yeah, which I don't know how he can say and have his supporters say that he is not racist on the one hand, while also while he's also saying that he does not want to change the names of institutions that are carrying the names of racists and Confederate soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hate when people say, well, that's erasing American history. I'm like, no, it's not. That is still in our history. Just we should.
First of all, it's not. They're not Americans.
Yeah. Yeah. They wanted to leave the country. They did not want to be Americans anymore. They wanted to be the Confederate states.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 17. The United States launched astronauts to the International Space Station on a U.S.-made rocket after years of dependence on Russian technology. The reusable booster did its job and then returned safely, potentially opening an era of more cost-efficient space travel.
Yeah. I watched that whole thing.
It's been awesome. I think it's a great development that this is happening. I think it's sad, though, that it is coming from a private interest and not from our country working through the government in order to get this accomplished. This came through capitalist motivations, which, sure, fine. Capitalism has some good uses. I don't think that it should be the be-all, end-all of everything. I think there are some things that a government is better suited to handle.
But I think, like, you know how the government bureaucracy works in a lot of things, which them not being hindered by having to go through different sets of steps, and they were able to redefine how they did the testing and everything, made it happen a lot quicker than NASA would have been able to do it, which is, I think, why they chose that route.
I think, that's
because I look
possible, but at
like
the same time,
we make a prototype. We make one prototype. We test it. Okay, we need to make changes. We'll build a whole new prototype. Where SpaceX is theory has been, we'll make a whole ton of prototypes at once, all that can be modified, which is not something that we normally did before. Yeah. And they'd be like, okay, we'll test this one. Now this next one that's already being built, it's already halfway through being built. We can make adjustments to that one based off the testing on this one. So their advances have come in, months time frame versus years time frame.
Yeah. And a lot of that is just tied to resources, though. I mean, if NASA had the same funding, they could have done all the same things. It's just that, conservative policies have been dominant for so many decades that it has starved so many government agencies of the funds needed to actually accomplish their missions and accomplish them well and timely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll say that's part of the advancement that I've been enjoying come from this, is that they're able to work at a lot faster time scale versus what the government would have allowed NASA to work at.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that's framed a little, I would disagree with the framing there. I don't think it's that the government wouldn't allow NASA to do different things. It's that funding to NASA wouldn't allow NASA to do these things as effectively. Well, I guess that's kind of where, they wouldn't give them the money to do the same thing that SpaceX was doing. Yeah. Because. Yeah. I guess my concern around it revolves around now we are dependent on a company to get things done for us. And the company can then dictate their own prices for things. It's a company, an entity, a corporation who is doing these things instead of the United States doing these things.
That is true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Number 18 on the list is carbon dioxide emissions declined in part due to the recession. Yes, but also because the cost of renewable energy resources such as solar and wind is declining more quickly than many experts had predicted, which is awesome. Renewable energy is fantastic and wonderful. It's the wave of the future. I am disappointed that the United States is lagging so far behind a lot of other nations in development of renewable energy sources.
Well, we have leaders telling us that wind causes cancer, so.
Yeah. It kills all the birds.
which is where I usually argue with my rather conservative colleagues and say, this is going to happen. Solar, wind, renewable energy is going to happen. It is the future. Mm-hmm. So why not have us investing in that future and try to lead in it to be America first, instead of relying on other countries.
Yeah, we used to be the leaders in new technology and innovation, and now we are followers. We follow developments made in other countries who are innovating.
Yep.
And that's disappointing. Number 19, with the United States set to rejoin the Paris Agreement and China pledging to reach carbon neutrality by 2060, momentum grew for the global community to take its climate emergency seriously.
Yes.
Which is good. And
first time ever we have someone sitting at the table of the international communities for global climate change.
Yeah.
So.
And number 20 on their list is that after 4 years of an administration appointing mostly white men to the judiciary and the executive branch, the government was set to look more like America. And not just with its new vice president, but with a plethora of new faces, including the most Native Americans elected to Congress, the most trans people elected to state legislatures, a burst of Republican women elected to Congress, and a highly diverse and competent array of nominees for the incoming cabinet. I don't know why it sounded like I just was slipping into a coma there for a minute. And it says, oh, and a panda was born at the National Zoo. Happy New Year.
That is a cute looking panda.
It's got a picture of the panda cub. Zhao Qiji was born.
Don't ask me to pronounce it.
August 21st at the National Zoo. And it's an adorable looking little baby panda. Yay. So we've gone through our list. It brings us to the end of the show. I wanted to spend a few minutes, to allow each of us to talk about our favorite things and worst things of 2020. Why don't you go first, Ryan?
Well, I already kind of hit on mine where I thought, the selfish side of it, that I have taken the time during 2020 to expand on a new skill, a new trade, doing all the woodworking stuff where I've, in the past I might have learned something and stuck to just the basics of it. And this year I've been like, no, I want to challenge myself. I see that. I want to try to do that. I want to build something I've never done before. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's not going to work. And I've had more positive results than negative results. So I take that as a plus.
It's a very, very good thing. Yeah. Yeah. You've made some awesome things, man.
And it's been fun. I really enjoy it. And, it's been a good year for me on that standpoint. Globally, it's been bad. I've been fortunate enough to work in a job that is very important. And I've maintained my job throughout the whole year. So I haven't had to worry about any of the horrible things that a lot of people have had to worry about or be in fear of during this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been good in some ways, bad in others. How about you, Matt? What's your best and worst?
I got a few things. Definitely the worst thing was watching my family have COVID and being totally helpless.
Yeah. That had to have been scary. Just, that feeling of complete and utter helplessness. Like, you can't do anything for them. You can't really take them anywhere else for any help. Yeah. It just, that had to have sucked.
Yeah. And having it myself wasn't the greatest, but, it did the whole situation kind of refocused my priorities, which turned out to be a good thing. And then I got validation for it too, because, Ryan's mom said I was her favorite. So that was one of my highlights of the year. I never thought that would happen.
And she actually said the reason why you are her favorite is because she loves the things that you're doing.
Oh yeah.
She responded back to me. I forgot about that.
But probably the best thing overall was finding out that we're having twins.
Yeah, that's
pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very exciting news. And I said that, we had received some feedback that I had forgotten to mention in one of our previous episodes. One of the bits of feedback was from X from Utah Outcasts, who sent us a text message and just said, "Hey guys, it's X. Just listening this morning. Congrats to Matt having twins. I just wanted to let him know that if he needs a fellow twin having dad to commiserate with, I'm here. Glad to hear everyone is doing all right."
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'll probably take you up on that sometime.
Somebody with some knowledge of how having twins works out. Yeah. Let's see. For me, I would say the worst bit of all of this has just been the distance from friends and family. Like I said, we've typically hosted Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's. November and December and early January, our house is usually just filled with friends and family, and it's been rough not seeing everybody and not being able to spend time with them. I miss everybody a ton. We were happy to see a couple friends stop by the house, distanced. They showed up in masks, and we had a little table set out near the lamp posts on our walkway, where we would just exchange stuff. They would set something down and we'd go and retrieve it and back away and vice versa, and, wave at each other from a distance and everything. It was at least nice to see them and know that they're still out there. But it's been hard not being able to spend time with the people that we love and care about. I know that's been hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to be stuck in the house with somebody that I care about a great deal and who knows me very well and all of my idiosyncrasies and decides to stick around despite all of them. And it's been hard not having, not seeing you guys every week and being able to chat with you and better know and understand what's going on in your lives and how you guys are doing. And to do the show together.
I missed that part too.
Yeah, it's. I have so much beer in the beer fridge down here that has gone undrankeded. But yeah, I miss you guys. The highlights were, I think, challenging myself in building the stairs. That turned out really well. It was a lot of work, but it was nice to do something and to build something throughout all of this that I know will be there for many, many years to come, and that I think I did really well and turned out really well. I surprised myself at how well constructed those are and how nice they look, and getting everything put back together. They do look nice. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of some other real highlights of the year. And I think there was that, being able to spend more time with and grow even closer to Tracy, and our dogs I think our dogs have really helped us both get through this a lot. They're just adorable little fucking clowns that are ultimately entertaining.
that are afraid of mittens.
Yeah, anything new in the house, if you move something or put something in a place where it wasn't before, they're instantly afraid of it for whatever reason. They're very much creatures of habit and have their own little patterns of doing everything. But yeah, it's been nice to just get through 2020, and it's nice to know that next year we won't have to be dealing with the Orange Menace nearly as much or as often. He'll become largely irrelevant. He'll still have sway and hold sway over a bunch of people, but I won't have to get up every day and look at my phone to find out if we're in a war with someone, or, what he's done to put other people's lives in danger or to harm other people. We can return to a boring, uneventful, for the most part, day-to-day operations of our lives. And I can begin to start to ignore Trump more and more every day that goes by, which will be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for everything this year. Thank our listeners for everything this year. You guys have been awesome in supporting the show and keeping us going. Hopefully,
for sticking with us through all our technical mishaps.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Hopefully we've entertained you a bit throughout the year, made your lives a little better. That's kind of what we try to do apart from just ranting and raving. But that's it for me, man. That's it for this show. That's it for the year.
I'm excited for the show. We're still going to continue in 2021
for this episode. There we go. But yeah, I hope everybody has a safe and happy New Year's Eve. As happy as they can be, all things considered. And we can all just look better. We can look forward to a better, brighter, more prosperous, more happy 2021.
I might be home for New Year's Eve.
You might be home for New Year's Eve?
Well, usually when the government shuts down, all leave is canceled. I've got New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So I'll see what happens there.
Yeah, like I say, I'm sure that he will sign it. Or at least just allow it to go into law. Like, if he doesn't sign it within, is it 10 days? It just becomes a thing.
The majority voted as a supermajority or a veto-proof majority in the original vote.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing that he'll end up signing it today. If not today, then sometime tomorrow. And because if he doesn't, it harms not only the Republican Party, but somebody will be able to convince him that it will be bad for him ultimately if he ever decides to enter politics or have anybody else in his family enter politics in the future. So it's all just been for show and attention because he's been out of the spotlight. And so before we go, I want to make sure that we thank our Patreon supporters because you guys are awesome, helping us to pay for all of the things and junk and stuff. That would be, you go ahead and start, Alan, or Ryan.
Alan? Okay. Alan Firth.
Christy Kalbach.
Gaytheist.
Stephen Andrews.
Two skeptical chaps.
Vanessa.
Sophia Richard.
Ollie Olson.
John McCullough.
Tiffany Hudson.
Sinead Duffy.
Utah Outcasts.
Wesley Aaron.
Andrew Vodopich.
Jeremy Goodson.
Itko Fethi.
Jeff Peterson.
Corey Ebert.
Megan Mitchell.
Freethinker 215.
Tim Jacobson.
Janet Uter.
Savita Kuna.
Taylor Grin.
Purple Dragon.
Nico Gonzalez.
Chad Pryor.
And Itchy and Scratchy want you to please support the Secular Coalition for America and Camp Quest.
Yay! Thank you all very, very much. And so, until next year, crucify any autocratic dickheads who figure that they want to take over the world.
Leave us a review and go hug your puppies.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward 2021.
Making noises.
Thank you.
For the levels. So that Dan can figure out the levels. Making noises. For the levels. Yeah.